Greetings, this is Robert from Merit Systems International, and I'm the developer of the MARETweb project. You're currently watching a special edition of the Therapist Builder series, and this one is specially designed for those who are MARETweb basic users. There's going to be a little bit of discussion here about some of the added features that are in MARETweb Premium. Some things that you may not know about. So today is September 11th, 2020, and we're going to start with kind of an overview of what this does. Let's see here, we'll go past that screen. If you decide to try out or subscribe to MARETweb Premium, you will never lose your basic subscription. So if you go on a yearly payment plan and decide you don't want to do it anymore, you will revert back to basic, and of course you'll lose all the premium features, but you're not going to lose your basic subscription. You'll still have that. Nothing has been removed from the basic subscription package when we upgraded to premium. There's just some stuff that's been added that is kind of really important. So let's go on and take a look at some of those things. The CBT Cognitive Behavioral Therapy Client Assessment is something that is new, and it's only for MARETweb Premium. It's a 13-item assessment. A lot of CBT looks at 10, and I've seen a couple as many as 20 cognitive distortions. I have singled out 13 items here. So there's a 13-item assessment, and we'll take a look at that right now. If cognitive behavioral therapy is something you use, you know that discovering a person's cognitive distortions sometimes can be very hard, and it can be time-consuming to listen to what they're saying, to find the distortions. This 13-item assessment just pulls them right out for you. So this is what it looks like on paper. You can do it on screen, you can do it remotely, and you can do it on paper, as you see here. There are 13 of these. These are 2 of them. You can see that it's not just a single question. It's pretty well describing what the cognitive distortion is. The person answers from 0 to 10. 0, of course, meaning that doesn't characterize them at all. 10 meaning that's me every day, all day. So the results clearly discuss the cognitive distortions. It pulls them right out. You don't have to do it yourself. It tells you what they are, tells you how strong they are. You see the results in a table format and a dialogue format. You can give this in more than once. In fact, I recommend that you give it a number of times, every time for a while, that you see a client, so that you can see the changes. Things might change rather rapidly depending on what you're dealing with. So there are also Socratic questions. You know that cognitive behavioral therapy centers around Socratic questions. There's 2 different sets of these, one for the first time that a person takes it, and then when they take it the second time, there's a much more detailed set of Socratic questions. Socrates is where Socratic comes from, obviously. Socrates never instructed his students. He questioned his students. So rather than say, this is the nature of the world, he said, what is the nature of the world? And when they came back and they said, here's the nature of the world, he had another question for them. He used questions to teach. That is what we do with cognitive behavioral therapy. If that's not what you do, then you're not using CBT. If you're not discovering cognitive distortions, then you're not using CBT. A lot of people say they're using it, and they're really not using it. They're just counseling. Anybody who uses or wants to use CBT on a regular basis needs this tool. You can discover cognitive distortions instantly, and you've got a ton of Socratic questions that have already been done for you. You don't have to do those. And here's what a set of results looks like. Details for every one of the 13 the person scores out on. Here's what advanced Socratic questions look like. There are 8, I wouldn't call them questions, 8 sets of statements that a person needs to think about and record, probably on separate sheets of paper. They're not going to be able to use this. They're going to have to really think about this. The whole purpose is to pull forward the cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions like to hide. There's an activating event, and then there's C in the ABCs. There's consequences. So a person has an activating event and consequences. They go A, C. They skip to B. B is where the good stuff is. That's where the cognitive distortion is. When we get B exposed, we can blow it up, short circuit it, and the person can move on toward healing. So that's what these questions are designed to do, to go after the belief system that is causing the cognitive distortions. And another issue with the premium is quick test. There have been some advancements. People for a long time have asked me to be able to see all of the answers, all of the single item answers, and I've hesitated to do that. I've done it now, and I see the power of it. It's incredible. Not only that, you have the ability to see a client's elevated crisis items only. So you don't want to see all 37 items. You just see those items that are elevated. You've got the choice between those two. And lastly, there's intensive critical analysis of all the factors associated with anxiety, depression, personal safety. You can use this feature after you've given the assessment 4 times. The reason 4 times is because there's intensive statistics that really take a few results to be able to calculate effectively. This is too small to read. It wasn't intended to be read. This is what the part of the huge analysis looks like. You can see charts, you can see graphs, you can see candlesticks. This shows you exactly where your client is, where they have been, where they are now. And there's one section, you can't read it, but the section near the bottom there that's dialogue, where your client is going. How much longer is it going to take them to normalize? All of that is built into the statistics of this particular section of the screen. And this is what I was talking about with the item analysis. This is for anxiety. Anxiety, depression, and personal safety are all listed here. And you can see each one of the items, A1, A2, A3, that's anxiety 1, 2, 3, all 15 of the anxiety items. You can see the last score. You notice the one near the bottom that says, I fear bodily disease. It's at a 75. That's elevated far above the average, which is 54. And the range is 1 standard deviation plus or minus the mean. It's all built into here. So you can see over to the right-hand side, it says strong fluctuation. This person fears bodily disease, and they do so strongly. It's wild, it's out of control. Same thing with the bottom one. I get tired easily. It's a sign of depression. And they go from 0 to 64. The scale only goes from 0 to 100. So 2/3 of the time, they're scoring in an out of control area. Personality spectrum. This has been one of our key assessments, and people have asked me to include the ability to record PSA more than one time. many of you will recall that in the past it's only been that you could record it one time and that was all. Now you can record it as many times as you want. You will see the power of doing that. You can view individual results, of course, but you can also view results that are combined into a mean. So it takes 10 assessments and combines them all into one score, and gives you a much bigger picture of where the person's at. You can view complete separate reports on constructs, optimal functioning, and maladaptive scores. It looks at the first, last, and the mean results on graphs, tables, dialogues. Cluster analysis is included in there. It's a huge report. And the comprehensive analysis of psychopathy, psychosis, and schizotypy, including first, last, and the mean, are also included in here. As I continue to record Therapist Builder videos, I'll begin talking about especially psychopathy and schizotypy as they relate to the DSM-5. And this is the menu for a personality spectrum. And these, as you can see, the red items, this is the premium content. View constructs with cluster, optimals with cluster, maladaptations with cluster. Eventually I'm going to build in item analysis, just like I did for the item analysis on quick test. Psychopathy, psychosis, and schizotypy, those reports are mostly done, except for the schizotypy needs some work. Defense mechanisms and the mechanism checklist, that stuff's always free. It was part of the basic, but you can access it through here. This is, again, constructs, optimal, adjusted, maladaptive. This is the optimal adjusted report, and it's the first, the mean, the last, the blue, the orange, and the red and the orange. And you can see clearly where a person is. And it also lists the construct and the construct values. This report goes on much longer. This is just a snapshot of one small section. You can see from the red here the changes in person's scores. I have a special offer for lifetime basic members. And since you're a therapist, I strongly recommend that you upgrade from MARETweb Basic to the Premium. The upgrade will greatly enhance your counseling practice. It'll give you accuracy, especially if you use CBT with a client and their particular issues. I'm going to allow you to use these expanded features free for 15 days. If you email me, request a free trial, I will activate it for you. You can use it for 15 days and see exactly what it does. It'll actually go backwards and look at stuff that's already in your system. So if you've got somebody that you've given quick test to 10 times, it's gonna show you those 10 results. It's not from this point forward. It looks at everything. So send me an email if you've got my phone. You want to text me, call me, whatever you want to do. Let's get you hooked up so that you can see what MARETweb Premium will do for you.